Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan. And some of us are more excited to work on tonight's project than others. I'll let you guess who's excited and who's not. Anyways, let's see who we have in the chat because you all were on time and I was a bit late. We have Thomas Armstrong. Yeep. Hi, Thomas. We have Hardware Hacker. Remember to sign into the correct account tonight. Eep. Hi, Hardware Hacker. We have newer Ham Radio Elmer. Hi, Elmer. We have Gut Bomb. Hi, Jason. Tonight is the night for the IIsigh. Any IIsigh to work? I hope so, because you've finished all your photography and I can't get a crummy IIsigh to work. We have Stian. Hi, Stian. We have I-8386SX. Hi, Jesse. For non-eBay regrets, go check out I-8486SX on eBay. Let's see here. Capum says, tonight is the night. I wish I shared your optimism. Alright, don't forget the coffee goal is in the description. Link is in the video description. And let's see here what I have beside me. Well, I've got... Hiccup Bump says, well, your IIsigh struggling is going into the video, ha ha ha. Alright, well, at least someone's going to get some, at least more people get entertainment from it. Let's see here what I have beside me. Well, I've got some silly CR2032 batteries. Y'all know what these are for. Just about every single computer I work on, because just like Mike Tech, I find that they're all dead. So I bought more CR2032s. We have parts from Mauser, and I was relieved to see when I opened the box today that these appear to be the correct footprint parts. I sure hope they are. I actually measured twice and checked data sheets this time. We'll find out later. Oh, we have a little package from China. We're going to open this up and see what's in it. Don't worry. They are not a sponsor, but neither is the other PCB manufacturer is also not a channel sponsor. I don't have any channel sponsors, so... Which is fine. That's why I hawk my coffee and Patreon, because I'd rather let you all sponsor me, and then I can say and do whatever I want. So anyways, we have a little box here from JLC PCB. Gutpump says, oh my, PK Cell. Mike Tech is keeping LICB in business. Yeah, it had to do with the cheapest price for batteries of a brand that didn't just look like random characters mashed on a keyboard. So I at least wanted something that I've used before. I've used PK Cell, they're okay. I mean, they're CR2032s. Stian says, you don't need that many for one IIsigh. Whatever the name of that text character is. Yeah, I know. Alright, so what did I order from one of the PCB houses, and why did I order from them? Well, we will answer the first question first, and the second question second. So, the first question is, I ordered PCBs. And these are VRAM sim PCBs. These are based off the Garrett's Workshop design, and I was going to add more text on it, but Garrett's Workshop told me that by all means just remove all of his text and that would be fine. So I removed all his text. So what do we have here? We have a 256 kilobyte VRAM for Macintosh. And there we go. Assembled by Justin D. Morgan using eBay-sourced potential regrets memory. I wonder what that could mean. Anyways, I have 30 of these. And I hope they're correct. So anyways. Now, of course, that probably means you're wondering, wait a minute. We haven't seen a potential regret that might be for this. But anyways, yeah. Now, why did I order from JLC PCB? Well, that's because they were probably the cheapest. Also, they let me order them and actually pick a shipping method that was direct duty paid. So that way I knew exactly how much the entire thing was going to cost me when I clicked checkout, and that would be a total of $5 per PCB. There's 30 PCBs in the box. And before you assume what caused them to cost $5 a piece, I will point you to the fact that they are 4-layer, 1.2 millimeter PCBs with a very small drill hole size, and that is the main driver of the cost of the PCB, not some of the other things you might have been thinking. So yeah, JLC Jesse says JLC PCB is fine. Yes, most of the cost there that caused them to be $5 a piece has to do with the process that needed to be used. Yeah, as Jesse says, precision drilling drives costs up. Yes, because in fact, I thought I was going to be able to order 75 to 100 PCBs for the same cost that it cost me to order 30. And that's because when I did my initial estimates, I did not realize what drill hole size I needed to specify, because neither of the PCB manufacturers' Gerber tools, when you drag in the Gerber, neither of, well, the one for JLC PCB did not catch the drill hole size. Jesse says, that's what happened on my very first PCB build. Yes. Yeah, so these PCBs don't use the smallest one that JLC PCB will let you pick, but it's the second smallest one. So anyways, yeah, those became some fairly expensive PCBs very quickly. Anyways, I do have a potential regret I haven't opened because I was waiting until I worked on these to reveal it. And now that I've shown you the PCBs because they came in the other day, well, that'll just let you ponder what we might be building and which Mac we might be working on in that live stream, which I'd kind of like to maybe work on one of the live streams next week. Anyways, let's see here. Oh, yeah. I do have one more item over here. And you all will be relieved to know the following.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes with these titles anyway?
And I kind of regret that we got to this point when Hardware Hacker has only 2% battery life left on his phone. Hardware Hacker. Hey, who comes up with these titles anyways? Yes. So, we have, finally, I got something in from eBay, the place where I buy the things I later regret. Could have kind of maybe possibly used this on Tuesday from an eBay seller in Ohio. So, hi to all my eBay sellers and viewers in Ohio. Is this something from Western Digital? Did I buy it from Western Digital? Is the item that I might have plugged into this from Western Digital? Could this be an elaborate hoax and this is actually a Trident card? Well, let's get this box open, and I'm sure it will be entirely evident what this is. In fact, you all, I think I dropped a hint on Tuesday. I simultaneously do and don't appreciate the fact they shipped it in the original box, but at least they had the common decency to put the address label on the other side of the box so that we could enjoy this awesome Western Digital Corporation. And we've got a PCB. We've got something in pink bubble wrap and a black... What is up with eBay sellers putting things in black envelopes that don't belong in black envelopes? Hardware Hacker says, it's a mini VIC-20. And why do I suddenly want to just, like, yeet this black envelope into the sun? We have an MFM, or actually we have a Winchester disk controller card. A 16-bit Winchester disk controller card. How neat. And I am double checking that the part numbers match. WD1003V-SR1 Winchester disc controller. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful card. And there we go. It's the front. There's the back. And we got the manual. There we go. And yes, it does look like I ordered the correct thing. Both controllers, it's referring to the two models of this card. Winchester interface conform to 2.7 or 2.7 RLL specifications. And if I had the floppy drive version, it would support any floppy drive. So there we go. Gutbomb's going to call hard drives Winchesters from now on. I will caution you because I think there is another item that is from a company called Winchester that can be not YouTube safe, and I'll leave it at that. Or can be called Winchester. Anyways, there we go. It is a beautiful RLL controller card. I have no idea if it works, and the only RLL drive I have is seemingly dead, so yeah, have no idea if I plug it into this, will it work, but there we go. Gutbomb says, it's such a classy name, way better than a cigarette or a pew pew. Yes, there we go. I could have maybe used that on Tuesday. It would have probably only confirmed the obvious that the drive stopped working. Anyways, alright, we have the IIsi. Alright, I've got my repair notes from last time we looked at this. It says the Diag suggests data bits 1 and 3, address bit 3. Found apparent broken traces, fixed caused more data bus errors. Alright, so very well. We are going to... I think I am going to start... the repairs by warming up my soldering iron. There we go. Turned on some power. Turned on some power to the power, or some more power. And let's see here if I can't find my safety glasses, which have run away. Run away! Run away! Run away! Oh, is that because they fell on the floor? Yeah, that's probably why they ran away. They does look like they fell on the floor. Alright. Well, hopefully I did not scratch them in the process of them falling to the floor. Otherwise, I will have to go find another pair. Jesse says, Winchester also made NVRs with the best Hitachi Ultrastar hard drives known to man. Oh, Gutbomb says, I just found out why they were called Winchesters. It was an homage to the Pew Pew. Did that have something to do with numbers of the original drive or something? But yeah. Anyways, oh, well, that's interesting. So, it's always fun when you open up the item that was under repair and you find a stray component lead sitting somewhere and are now wondering if that was there when you tried to test the device last. Oh. Yeah, Gutbomb says they originally planned to have two 30 megabyte spindles, and it was the Winchester 3030. Yes. I kind of thought it was a bit more than, hey, we like this dangerous other product, let's name our hard drive after it. That more the, oh, hey, we're going to have two 30 megabyte platters. You know, we should give this thing a nickname. I don't know if that makes it much better, but, well, I guess it at least explains their thought process. yes, Lazy Bite Boy, yes. That would be the size of the pew that goes in the pew pew. And yes, I am calling it a funny name because I'm sure the YouTube algorithm is not totally fooled, but at least I'm not, well, I can't be accused of, well, we're talking about hard drives. The coincidence of the similarity to other things is purely coincidental. They could have made them 29 megabyte spindles for all I know. Lazy Bite Boy says, learned that in high school in JROTC. Yes. Alright. We have the IISi. I found a component lead where it did not belong. I am going to power this up. We will go into the diagnostic mode. I just need to configure it here. And we will see if by chance there is any possibility Okay, I think it's going to be 9600 8 2 none none. And let's see here. Oh. Window. When Windows resized, change the size of the font. There we go. All right. Okay, now I should be able to screen share. All right, I have no idea what it's going to do when I try to power it up. But, all right, 3, 2, 1. $30 Sims memory slots. Hi, Joseph. Welcome. There is no memory in the 30-pin sim slots. All right, so star A. And let's see here. I don't have the Google spreadsheet open, I don't think. Well, actually, I might. Or maybe I don't. No, I think I closed that tab because I had too many tabs open. Alright. History. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so if I am, let's see here if I can remember how to do this. So I think we want to do a, let's do a star 5. Oh, hold on. Star 5. Whoop. Oh, how do we stop that? Oh, that's right. Star S. Okay. So, let's see here. Star 4, that should... Star 4, it should clear the response. Code. Okay. Star 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Zero. Okay, that doesn't seem to work on this. So, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. All right. Star T, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay. Star T, 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, I think I might have run the test. And let's see here. We have, there's our response code. And I probably forgot to share. Oh, no, I am sharing the screen. There we go. Do I have a reference for these debugger codes somewhere? It's on Adrian Black's GitHub. I think. I really... I think I just did a data bus test. But I'm not sure, because I was supposed to load an address using *0, but I can't get *0 to work. So if I'm reading this right, oh, 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 250. All right, I'm copying and pasting from. All right. I'm gonna try to do a RAM test. So I'm copying from the spreadsheet. And apparently it didn't like my... Nope, doesn't like that. Alright, fine. Alright, so we set *0, and then if I tell it data bus test... And... Did it run it? I don't know what that status code means. I don't remember what it means. Stan says, I think I have the right adapters to get serial output from my SE30 now. Nice. Hi, Socket Wrench. Welcome. Alright, I guess just so you all can follow along, I hope that works. That's the Google Sheet I'm trying to use. Alright, so... Oh, wait. There's, no... Oh, that response seemingly indicates no error on the data bus. Alright, so if I copy and paste a RAM test. Oh wait, no, that's a data bus test. No, it didn't like that. Alright, it did not like that one. Alright. So, according to the notes, you have to set the address to 0. So, I'm copying and pasting these because I can't seem to type them correctly. Alright. Let me double check here. So, the 2SI supports... So it does support SysMem, data bus, mod 3, address line, ROM, rev mod 3, extra RAM, and move env, whatever that does. Alright. So that means that I should be able to run a ROM test. A ROM checksum. Alright, well, let's run a ROM checksum. Alright, well, that seemed to have worked. I'm copying and pasting from the spreadsheet, and there's no echo, so... Well, I might be able to... Let me see if I can get it to echo. I got that to work last time somehow, but it didn't work that great. It made it really hard for me to type, but maybe if I'm copying and pasting, maybe it's okay. Let's see, that was star E. So let me try a star E. And that way you can at least see what I'm doing. Alright. So let me copy the starting address again. Okay, that didn't exactly echo the way I expected it, but whatever. Alright, so... I can't see the chat while I do this, so if you're trying to tell me something in the chat, hold on, I will have to come back and check it. Alright, so... Alright, let me set the ender RAM. Alright, that's supposedly set the ender RAM and the start of RAM. Alright, let me see if this will run a RAM test. On the... And I don't know if it's actually running. No. It looks like it didn't like that command. It did not like that command. Alright, does it like this one? No, it does not like that one. Alright. Let me maybe it'll like an address line test? No, it does not like an address line test. Are we... No. It's like the only test... I don't know. Oh. Riza says, oh, hi, Riza. When it says error, that is coming from the test itself, meaning the test failed. Well, Apple sure could have made this non-consumer facing... let's see, I don't even remember which test that was. They could have made this non-consumer facing test much more friendly. Alright, let's try again. Alright, so 1 megabyte of RAM, copy. Alright, there's the beginning and end. And let's try the Mod 3 RAM test. And then 1, 2, 3. Let's see here. Where's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. AA. AA. Well, that's an interesting... Well, in binary, that's 10101010. Now, which... I wonder which memory that's pointing at. Is that the low data bits or the high data bits? Because 68K is... Big Indian. So are those going to be data bits 30, 28, 26, and 24? Am I reading that right? Because with Big Indian, I would think this is going to be our low byte. So this is going to be our high byte. Because of Little Indian, this would be the low byte. So if I am reading this right, and I would appreciate if someone in the chat knows better, before I do something drastic, please warn me. But I think we're looking at a trip to the schematics. Alright, let me see if I've got this downloaded by chance. Alright. By the way, one reason why the 2SI is crummy is because the schematics are crummy. It's like there's an air gap in the system, according to these schematics. Let's see here. Data. RAM sim. RAM. Alright. UF5, UG5. So UH5 is the bus transceiver, and US7 and US6 are the two RAM chips. Reza says that should be bits 1, 3, 5, and 7. Stan says, thanks for sharing the spreadsheet. Ever consider just listing this on eBay? 2SI for sale. Tested and found to be a 2SI. So that really is bits 1, 3, 5, and 7? So despite the fact that the 68K processor is big Indian, they printed the numbers in little Indian? Those are some odd bits. But that would also mean that the two Bodge wires that I have on the board Reza says it's big Indian byte ordering, which is different from bit ordering. Oh, well, still, it's not written the way I would expect for big Indian, because I stare at little Indian numbers all the time, but... Alright, well, I guess that makes it easier for me to read, because I'm more likely to just realize what I'm looking at. Okay, so... there is currently two Bodge wires in place. And those Bodge wires are on 74 ALS 245 pins. See, 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay, well, that is very interesting. Because bit 1 and 3 are two of the bits that have been accused of having a problem. And those are also two bits that have a Bodge wire on them. Because, yeah, pin... So here's our ALS 245. This is UE5, so it's the one for bits 0 through 7. So pin 1 is read-write signal. So pin 2 is going to be pins 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are the A side of the transceiver. And according to the schematic, pin 2 is bit 0. Pin 9 is bit 7, and they're numbered in order. And I find it odd that the Bodge wire I put in place, because I thought we had a bad connection, are on bits 1 and 3. Do we have a bad connection to the other DRAM as well? Oh, wait, no, but bits 1 and 3 are not working. All right, hold please while I troubleshoot a streaming issue. Okay, let's see here. Stream alerts. We need to update your Twitch permissions. Well, that's fun. Copy. That's weird. The test alerts work. Yeah, insert the coffee tip sound plus notification from Hardware Hacker, blessing Justin with $5. Thank you, Hardware Hacker. Eep! I am stumped because I'm hitting the test alert button in the coffee interface, and that works. So I don't know why it's... Also, the YouTube... Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. And unfortunately, since the test works, I can't really troubleshoot it more live, so I'll have to... Sorry, yeah. Huh. Yes, thank you, Hardware Hacker. Yeep. Alright, alright, back to the problem at hand. Hardware Hacker says, here's a surefire way to get Justin's attention, and here's $5 towards your goal. Except it wasn't so surefire. Yeah, What is YouTube trying to get me to do? I have no idea. They're trying to get me to do something. Oh, they're also... Oh, there we go. Now I see how many viewers I have. I have 12 viewers that are watching me stare at weird components. Alright, let's power the IIsigh down. We will power it down gracefully. I mean, it's in test mode. It's not like that was going to corrupt the non-existent Mac partition. Alright, let's see here. So these are our 2 RAM chips that seemingly have data bit errors. Alright. And I've got a multimeter. And I'm going to put it in continuity, but I'm not going to put it in the mode that makes it beep, because I want to see if there is a resistance, because there could be resistors in line. Alright, so I'm going to start with data bit 0 on the A side of the transceiver, which is pin 2, and that should be connected to pin 1 of UE6. Wait a minute. Oh, no, there's pin 1. It's right there. Alright, except I guess my... Oh, well, it's a pretty high resistance there. 52 kiloohms? Oh, but... Okay, that's weird. So it seems like so all 4 data bits one, 2, 18, and 19. Okay, so pin 18 should be connected to data bit 2. Oh, that's weird. Pin... Oh, that's because I've got it on 16, 17, 18. Should be connected to pin 2. 58 kiloohms. That's weird. All right, let me check something here. That's really weird. Harder Hacker says, I threw in $2 more than nothing. Well, thank you, Hardware Hacker. Makes me wonder if I'll have the same issues when I eventually get my coffee connected to my eventual live streams. This could be a OBS issue. Yeah, anyways, I'll have to troubleshoot it later, and I'll let you know if I figure anything out, hardware hacker. If I really figure something out, I'll make a video. Alright, I'm gonna go to the next transceiver over. Because something's... Or, no, I don't need to go to the next transceiver over. No, I do want to go to the next transceiver over. Here, I'm like kids that can't make up their mind. Alright, so I want to look at... So we had data bit problems on bits that are on these two chips and are on this transceiver. So I wanted to go over to this next one over here, which presumably is not having a problem. And I want to see what the resistance is between the A side of the transceiver and the RAM chip. And then, if I'm not satisfied, I'll go to the... Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I am right. Okay. So here's bit... This should be bit 8. And bit 8 is on pin 1 of this RAM chip. That's interesting. It's at like a 43... It's like a 43 kilo ohm resistance. Is that because... Am I looking at the wrong pin? No, there's the notch, so that should be pin 1. Alright. Pin 1. And that is... Yeah. Okay, so pin 1 on UG7. Oh. Oh. Did I do something... Did I do something entirely silly? Did I do a dumb? I think I might have done a dumb. I think I did a dumb, and it will explain the bit errors we're seeing. Hi, Mike's Future Retro, welcome. I think I have just realized that I have done a dumb. Because, bit 0, which is on pin 2 of this ALS 245, this one right here, is on UF7, which is here. Wow. And bit 1 is on pin 2 of UF7. Which should be also pin 3. So I'm thinking... Oh, and there does appear to be a broken trace there. But the Bodge wire is going to the wrong place. So, pin 1 of this RAM chip is actually bit 4. And that is going to be on pin 6 of this chip, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, look at that connection. Which means, ha ha ha. Guess what Justin has done? I put the Bodge wires on the wrong RAM chip. So, that's never going to work. It's also probably why I have the bit errors that I'm seeing. So that needs to go to pin 19. Alright, so this should be fairly easy to fix, and by fairly easy I mean removing the wrong Bodge wire. Actually, you know, let's do this. Let me remove this end of the Bodge wire. There we go. And I will clean up the solder blob on the top of that chip. Alright. So I realize that I now basically have two little antennae on the board. But I think there are broken traces. Potentially, but I think I had these in the wrong place. So let's, now that I think I've maybe mastered the art of running the memory test. So I've detached those two wires, which were going to the wrong place. So I think half the bit errors we were seeing were due to what Joe would call the dumb. Okay. Okay, those wires are not touching each other. Alright, I do know we are... Okay, I am not surprised we SAD-MAC'd. Alright. So, we should... Star A. Alright. There we go. Alright, so let's see here. Again, I'm going to the spreadsheet if I can find the tab. Alright, so I am going to copy parameter 0, set it to 0. That's for the beginning of memory. So set parameter 1. Actually, I think it's actually setting registers. Alright, then we are going to run the... Oh, I guess I should probably clear the... response. Star 4. Alright, so now... Oh! Well, I got the Windows pop-up from Coffee. I think I need to run Task Manager here real quick. So, last time I was streaming, my computer started getting slower and slower and slower. And it kind of almost felt to me like I had a bad solid-state drive. But you all will never guess what application I think was actually the cause. And sure enough, I've got an app that is trying to consume 99% of my CPU. And that is not OBS. Does anyone want to take a guess at which app it is? I will give you a clue. The name of the app could be what happens when people aren't in agreement. Harder Hacker says, I bet it's OBS. No, it's not OBS. It's not Chrome. OBS is using 7% of the CPU. Chrome is not running. Firefox is using 0.1%. Discord is using 86% of my CPU. End task. Bye-bye. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. And there we go. Now my computer's not laggy again. Lazy Bite Boy says 3D Pinball Space Cadet. Ever since they updated Discord with those silly Halloween sounds, which happened on Tuesday, I've had trouble with Discord on this computer. So there we go. Ah, yes. Firefox is a little more responsive now. That's much better. All right. Critical tests. Mod 3 RAM test. Let me copy that. Let me paste it into... Whoop. Paste it there. All right. And response code was... Ooh. A looky there. There's 2, 3. That would be, let me guess, that's going to be bits 1 and 3. Socket Wrench says, that's why I keep Discord in browser tab. Garth says, Beaumark schematics are deep, man. Yes. Yeah, we are Beaumark schematics. That's the only thing I have. Jesse says, upgrade to Windows 11. Microsoft. This computer doesn't support Windows 11 because there's no TPM 2.0 in it. And not available for it. Already checked. Francois. Hi, Francois. Welcome. Mike's asking, what machine are you running the streaming software that the slowdown happened? It's an HP Z440 workstation. Discord should not be using 86% of the CPU in it in any world, real or imaginary, by just sitting in the background. Garth says, I want to see a video where the Apple Tech step actually helped to repair current classic Mac calamities. Francois says, I wanted to sleep, but Tech Night forced me to publish a video. Nice. Hardware Hacker says, I hacked the Windows 7 startup sound on a machine once, so that instead made the 3D pinball startup sound instead. Hardware Hacker says, use a Mac. I wish I had enough new Macs to stream from a Mac, but I don't. Gutbomb's asking, the motherboard doesn't have a BIOS update for Windows 11. Most do. Gutbomb, the Z440 workstation is from like the CPU that's in it doesn't support Windows 11. It's like it's Haswell Xeon based. It's like yeah, the CPU is not officially supported for Windows 11. Jesse says, yeah, buy a new computer. Microsoft in association with Dell, HP, and Lenovo. Yeah, exactly. Hardware Hacker says, it's the HP Sigh. Gut Bomb says, oh, those old Xeons. Yeah, so anyways, why am I still streaming from this computer? Because I need PCI Express slots in order to put on a quality production when Comcast is not dropping my bandwidth on the floor. I need PCI Express slots for all the capture devices I have. I have a computer to replace this one, but it needs a new power supply, and the power supply is going to be like $150 or $160 because I'm not putting a power supply in it that sounds like it was an old IBM model name. John says, I have a 2019 Mac Pro and it's not supported by Windows 11 either. In fact, I don't have a Mac new enough to run macOS 26. In fact, I don't have a Mac new enough to run a supported operating system without running Open Core Legacy Patcher, which I don't really want to run because I had trouble with Open Core, so I have this irrational fear of Open Core Legacy Patcher, even though they're supposedly not the same thing, and I don't want my primary Mac to have problems. Hardware Hacker says, I don't know if my M2 Mac will run that either. Actually, I think the M2 Mac will run. I think all the Apple Silicon Macs can run macOS 26. I don't have an Apple Silicon Mac. Garth says, I see an odd mix of cables and DuPont connectors. Whoa. Yeah, I soldered the serial cable onto the test connector. Yeah. Hardware Hacker says, but OBS works right now. I did not mess with it. Yeah. That's, yeah, the reason why I haven't swapped this computer out for one that supports Windows 11 is because I bought a computer to replace it. And, of course, after the eBay warranty expired, I realized there's a problem with the power supply in the computer where it will just randomly shut down. And I figured it out when I had a video card in the computer that could draw a lot of power. If I put a low power draw video card in it, it seems to be fine. If I put a higher power draw video card in it, then it can randomly shut down when Windows loads. And by higher power video card, I mean like a GTX 1080. Like, seriously, that was enough to get it to shut down when Windows loaded. So I gotta replace the power supply in it, and it's just hasn't been a priority among other things. Quite honestly, I'll probably just break down and buy a power supply for it at some point. But I had to replace my power supply that I use for bench testing, which I spent a little more on that than I really wanted to, but I bought a Corsair, so if it fails under warranty, I can get a replacement. So that kind of, yeah, buying that power supply means I'll have to wait to get a power supply for my new streaming computer to replace this one. Then I get to replace my MacBook Air with a newer MacBook, or a newer Mac with Apple Silicon that can actually run macOS 26. Which might have to happen sooner rather than later because my MacBook Air needs a new battery because the OWC battery in it is down to, it only has 236 charge cycles on it, and its capacity is at half of what it was new. And macOS, whatever it's running, is already complaining the battery needs serviced. So, yeah. Hardware Hacker says, speaking of bench, I'd rather see progress on your new bench first over hardware upgrades to the streaming PC. Yeah, I would like to get a new workbench as well. Upgrades to the streaming PC are more of a... If something... Right now, that replacement PC is just on, I guess, cold backup status. If something happened to my streaming computer and I absolutely had to put it in service, I will pull a power supply out of something to put that new computer into service. I will rob Peter to pay Paul. Until then, I need a new workbench. That is on my list. And I have been looking at workbench plans. I found a couple on Wood Magazine's website. I have to go find the issues that the plans are published in. I think I have at least one of the issues. I don't want to pay for the plans if I already have the magazine that has the plans in them. And yes, before anyone's like, Wood Magazine, aren't those going to be woodworking bench-like? Actually, one of them looks more like an electronics workbench than you would imagine, so it might require a few modifications to actually make it a bench to replace this bench. So, yeah, I'm glad I've looked in Wood Magazine. So, unfortunately, it'll take me a while to find it because half of my Wood Magazine collection's on a shelf, but half of it is in a pile on the floor because I ran out of shelf space. And I had to take possession of it before I was able to find a shelf to put it on. So, yeah. Socket Wrench says, I used a Husky bench from Home Depot for my electronics bench. Works pretty well. Murder to get down the stairs, though. Problem is, the Husky bench isn't big enough. That's the problem. I will, I guess since we're on bench, before I try to tack these mod wires on that I failed once and hopefully won't get in the wrong place again. I guess I can see, I guess I can check to see if the traces look broken. Because the thing is, when I checked last time, I had the wrong 2 points and measured a break. So it is entirely possible that if I go try to check again, I'm going to find that I'm going to find something different. Let me at least give you all a teaser here. All right, so let's see here. I don't know. I don't remember what I'm sharing. Let me open a few things in tabs. So, here's a teaser of a few of the plans that I found in Wood Magazine by looking at their website. So, here's one here. I'm not as crazy about this one, but if you'll note, it does... no, I do not want you to autoplay a video. It does look a lot like an electronics workbench. It is nice that it has a tool drawer. I already subscribed. Go away. It's got a toolbox here and a seating, but I'm not as crazy about this, but I'm going to keep it in mind because you can easily omit the vise. It does have a pretty big work surface, and I don't have to build it the way they built it because actually they used a solid core door on the top. I could just use a piece of MDF. Mike says, go to Harbor Freight and get their wood workbench. That's exactly, Socket Wrench says, that's exactly how my bench is laid out. The Harbor Freight wood workbench is... I don't know that I can customize it to be a workbench. I haven't looked at it, and I don't know that it's big enough. There's the problem right there. That's why I haven't done it. It's only 20 inches wide. That's too narrow for this. I need a bench that's deeper than that. 20 inches gives me zero room for test equipment in front of me. In fact, 20 inches is narrower than the bench I'm on now, so I would have trouble mounting monitors. Yeah, I need at least 30 inches so I can put test equipment in front of me. So if you're wondering why I haven't done something like this, it's too shallow. Never mind the fact that I'd have trouble putting a keyboard drawer on it. That'd be at a height I could type, but details on that. So that's why this is a 30. I think this one is 36 inches deep. So here's another one here. This one's probably closer to what I'll go with. I like it because, again, I think it's 3 by 8 feet on the top. Again, it's not designed such that the device is an integral part of it. But you've got some storage down below it that I could put stuff in, and space to sit in the middle, and it is 3 foot deep. And for this, and for either of these, I could probably make it a little bit deeper without compromising stability, since I'm not going to be trying to work on heavy wood items on top of it. So I could probably make it just a little bit deeper if I wanted, and certainly could mount a hutch on top of it. So there you go. There's a couple of plans to kind of give you an idea of, yes, I've been looking, and here's what I found. So now let's go back to the... Mike says, perhaps it's time to do a woodworking episode. I can't live stream woodworking. And that's not quitter talk. That's I don't want to get sawdust in my camera's talk. I don't have enough. I don't know how woodworkers... I don't know how woodworkers do it on YouTube, because... Oh, that's flux. That's the flux I put there. Okay. Jesse says, on Computerized Start, we build a bench. Yeah, as Sadback says, and all we'd hear probably is power tool noises anyways. I mean, I will try to do something on building the bench. However, keep in mind, I don't have camera equipment that is disposable. I don't have that much camera equipment. So it may not be a build video. It might be a video where I just can take snapshots with an old phone or something, because I don't have camera equipment to do woodworking content. Hi, Dave. Welcome. It's just that I don't know how woodworkers do it, and I don't know any YouTubing woodworkers to ask what their secret is that they don't get wood dust all up in their cameras. I mean, I do know that there is a woodworking YouTuber that lives close to me, but I haven't met him in person. Although maybe, I mean, he might not mind answering me a question, but yeah, or perhaps a plan and design episode. We'll see. I I'm having a hard enough time producing on what's the phrase I'm trying to content that actually matches my channel's mission. My video editing queue is already clogged up on that. I will try to do something on the workbench, but I can't clog my video production pipeline has stalled. So I can't make huge promises. I will try to do something though, even if it has to be a blog post. But I will try to do a video of some sort, but just please keep in mind I don't have cameras that I can risk getting wood dust in, because I don't have, like, it's not like I've got an old camera kicking around that I can just destroy. Because I don't. I mean, I do have an old iPhone, but I really can't afford it to be destroyed because it is an active cell phone. It's just a backup cell phone that is active. I pay for service on it. So I don't even have an old cell phone I can risk. So, yeah, I mean, I have an action cam, but I've never used it before for producing videos. So, I mean, the thing is, it's an action cam that I don't know that I could make a woodworking video using just it. It was not bought for making woodworking content. And I'm getting sidelined from trying to fix this. Alright, so pin 3 on the transceiver needs to go to pin 2 on this DRAM chip. Alright, let's see if I can get this, oh, wait a minute. No, I was going to see if... I could see that we had a broken trace still. That's right. Alright. Alright. Bear with me. I am going to use the magnifier so that I can make sure that I got the probe on the pin. Alright, so that is... I'm sure the flux is going to help the measurement, but alright. So that's pin 2. Yeah, there is definitely not a connection there. Alright, and alright, the other pin that should be connected is pin 19. Yep, there is no connection. Alright, so despite the fact that I think I checked the wrong points, or at least bodged the wrong points, it does appear as if I did correctly determine that there were breaks. Okay, so I am going to try to put a small dab of solder on pin 2. And I'm hoping I did not create a bridge there. Between pins 2 and 3. I guess I can check that with the multimeter. Okay, it does not appear as if I bridged them. Alright, and then, hopefully... Alright, so this is the Bodge wire that's connected to pin 3 of the... 3 of the transceiver. should go here. I do not like... I prefer working on through-hole components, for the record, because this is like really small and really close to really multiple things. Alright. Done. Alright, so pin 19 is here. I am not going to be able to do this one on camera. It is on the wrong side of the chip. Or at least I'm not going to be able to do it on that camera. It is on the wrong side of the chip. I am right-handed. I cannot solder with my left hand. I don't know why I'm apologizing for not wanting to... for just something I just cannot do. I'm not ambidextrous. I mean, there are some things I could do with my left hand. Soldering is not one of them. Well, actually, I think maybe I can get it on the microscope, and I kind of need to, because these pins are... I'm also kind of feeling slightly dumb for wanting to order transceiver parts before I worked on this, seeing that part of the problem was I had the wrong pins bodged, but well... Okay, so if you're wondering why I didn't live stream last Thursday, there was a twofold reason. So one was I wanted to have parts on hand in case I found that one of the transceivers was bad. The other reason was I ate something last Thursday that just really was not agreeing with me, and I did not feel like trying to live stream while I was suffering through something I ate. So, yeah, it didn't make me sick, but I just was not, it just was not agreeing with me. So, I did not really want to work on a IIsi when I was trying to digest something that was not agreeing with me. Hi, Sea Turtle, welcome. Alright, did I really just manage... Oh, did I short those two pins together? Okay, that looks like I shorted two pins together. I should have known that was going too well. Alright. Certainly looks like there's a short there. But the multimeter does not agree. Alright. Maybe that is... Oh, maybe that is flux I am seeing. Oh, it's flux. Okay, so as long as this wire is bent this way, I used contact cleaner because I don't know where the isopropyl alcohol cup went. All right, there we go. Mike says, you were warned to stay away from the discount taco truck in the Spanish neighborhood, buddy. I've been there. It doesn't end well. It wasn't the taco truck. It was some quiche bites that I had that just really were not agreeing with me. Which is weird, because it's not like they had peppers and onions or anything in them, so I certainly didn't think I was not going to be a happy camper after eating them, but here we are. Hi, E-Vibes, welcome. Jesse says, hold please. Now. Hold again please. Now. On a serious note, I can relate, yes. And it was not taco meat. No, it was not taco meat. Alright, so, we've replaced the Bodge wire. 3, 2, 1, go. Wait a minute. We've got progress here, folks. We did not sad Mac. We have a gray screen, rounded corners, mouse cursor. Oh yeah! Flashing disk cursor. Now will it boot off a disk? Hold on. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. I didn't plug in a floppy drive emulator because I really didn't think... I was doubting that it could be that easy. So this last error I was tracking down was brought to us by... user error, I guess. Alright. I'm going to need a keyboard and mouse too, aren't I? How about let's we'll boot Snooper emergency disk, which is not really compatible with the IIsi, but it is a boot disk that I have handy, and it will at least boot. All right. Power on with the keyboard worked. Oh, wait. I unintentionally lied. All right, we got a happy Mac. Welcome to Macintosh. Woohoo! $4.99 super sticker from Jesse I-83D6SX. Thank you. It's incredible. Wow, look at that. 1 whole megabyte of memory. Capom says we could talk about video plans tomorrow. We can talk tomorrow, but I mean, I'm not even sure we're out of the woods yet. Because there's still this little matter about SCSI. Actually, I would like to know, if I put the ROM sim in... Will it boot from a ROM sim? Hold on, let me find a jumper. Because if I boot from a ROM sim, then I can... there's a ROM disk on it. I also need to try to find the sims. Alright. You would think I would have jumpers handy, but they like to run away. Also, I have yet to even put the, I was going to put a... Oh yeah, I was going to try to overclock this. Although, that'll require me to find where I put the oscillator for it. There we go. Alright. Let's see if it'll boot from with a ROM sim installed, because I was having trouble with that, but that could have been, that probably was those two data bits broken. So let me put the jumper on the pins. Hardware Hacker, $1.99 super sticker. Wait for it. Thank you. R for ROM disk. Alright, while we wait for this to boot, one eternity later. It's also entirely possible that 1 megabyte of RAM is not enough to boot the ROM disk. Did I press R quick enough? Maybe not. Alright. I may have not pressed it quick enough, and we might be waiting for it to decide I don't have a SCSI device attached. Alright, so let me put a battery in, just so we can, if we set 24... good night, Francois. At least you saw at first that it took... I'm actually wondering if I can get any of the other 2SIs to work now. Now that I know how to use Diagnostic Mode. Alright. So I'm going to put a PRAM battery in. There we go. Now I can save settings. Alright, let me go get some extra RAM. Because I don't think 1 megabyte is enough to do much of anything. Alright. These are memory modules that I think were in one of the 2SIs. I think they might only be 1 megabyte modules. But that at least means that now we have 5 megabytes of RAM. Oh, I bet I didn't press R quick enough, or it needed more RAM. There we go. No, I didn't want to do that. General. Oh, I guess... What version of macOS is this? Oh. 608. Okay. Mike says I now have a working reference, so the other repair... Well, not all of my 2SIs are going to be salvageable. But yes, now that I have a working system, I have a working reference. Yeah, black and white, because I can't change the color depth, because I got to boot into a full... There we go. This is a Snooper emergency disk, so we are not going to run the RAM test. But... Oh, wait, no, I think the RAM test might actually... Okay, the RAM test might actually work. Because I only have 5 megabytes of RAM. Never mind. That's Snooper emergency disk for you. I guess I should probably find a... Yeah, it's the hot garbage emergency disk. I think it only works with like Mac SE and earlier. All right, let me find a SCSI device. Did I have one I was using with my... No. Alright. Alright, hold please while I try to find my external BlueSCSI that likes to wander off. Actually, I think I see the one I used last time. All right. Ooh, I can't plug it in that way. All right, hold please while I try to find a SCSI cable. Here we go. It's a SCSI cable of unnecessary length. 40 leagues under the sea later. Yeah, this should work, right? No. Rookie mistake here. IISIs do not provide termination power. Alright, well, I'm going to need to find the... Alright, so I found a adapter Molex to Berg. Now I need to find the 4-pin Molex adapter. I'm also going to take the ROM sim out, because that was only just a test. Alright. Alright. And I guess if anyone's asking, I am not aware of a way to modify the IISi to provide termination power. It does not provide it, and that's why the BlueSCSI was not detected until I powered it with the power. Alright, I think this macOS install on this BlueSCSI is for a Mac SE. But that should be fine. I think the only thing that's in it that won't run on this computer is the Performer extension, which I just drug out of the control panels. Let's see here. Where are monitors? Colors. 256. That's better. Snooper. There we go. Hi, Steven's Junk Stuff. Welcome. Oh, well, be that way, Snooper. Is there not enough RAM? Should run. Well, I might have to see if there's there might be another diagnostic on one of the other volumes. I could also try starting without extensions. It is also possible that Snooper 2.0... No, I think I've had it running on a 2SI before. Okay. If you want to play it the hard way, I can turn extensions off. Yeah, Steven says, always fun time trying to get Macs going, that's for sure. Alright, and apparently didn't like one of the extensions. Probably should turn off extensions to run Snooper anyways. Logic tests. RAM, PRAM, clock, SCSI. Turn off modem port because I don't have anything attached. I don't... Alright. Excellent. Steven says it's a Mac. It loves to play the hard way. Yes. Mike said it's not how long your SCSI cable is, it's how you use it that counts. Yes, I'm just glad I remembered the 2SI doesn't have termination power before I thought that the long SCSI cable was preventing sufficient power from making it to the BlueSCSI and went off on a tear to find another SCSI cable. Real-time clock test failed. Okay. I mean, I've seen that test fail before. I don't know why it sometimes the real-time clock test randomly fails on Snooper. I've noticed that on machines that otherwise seemingly work. And it could be the date you have the set clock to being later than Snooper thinks it should be. So when it goes to run its test of changing time, I don't know. It would seem as if this 2SI is working correctly. Which means I'll have to remove the diagnostic serial connections that I have connected to the factory test port. I will secure my Bodge wires. I'm not going to try to shorten these Bodge wires. I'm just going to secure them down with some hot glue. It's a 2SI. They're crummy, and I'm not going to risk breaking a pad to shorten the Bodge wires. I'm just going to tack them down so that they don't move and short something. Gutbum says, crummy, you say. I had to buy 4 of the things to get one working. Okay. some might debate had to buy 4 to get one working, but remember, 2SI number 2 had over half the pads for the capacitors gone because the capacitors fell off and took the pads with them. So, Gutbum says, it is quite spoily. It is quite spoily. Crummy alert. It is quite crummy. Spoiler alert. Eric said, hi, Eric. Very, very, very crummy. Nearly the crummiest. It is a good tie with the classic, I would say. Because the classic, Apple could have done better, but they chose not to. Steven says, that's usually how it goes with old Macs. Have to have many just to have one working, lol. Yeah. I have trouble with keeping LCs running, but I do have one of those that I think is in good shape. Eric says, I'm debating recapping that classic I picked up. It's probably going to need it. Alright. I'm trying to look to see if I can see where my hot glue gun ended up. Although, more importantly... Oh, okay, well, there's where the battery ended up. Alright, so let me see if I can find... While we let this run for a moment, I'm going to see if I can find my hot glue gun and the crystal I ordered for this thing. The hot glue gun, because I'd like to kind of go ahead and tack down those Bodge wires. And I'll go ahead and remove the serial cables. But if I can find the crystal, then maybe we will try the overclock I wanted to try. Eric says, I was lucky on my last SE30. Worked fine before and after a recap. So, let's see here. Oh, there's my air duster. Breaking news, I found my air duster. It's only been misplaced for months. I also found the crystals, believe it or not. Hot glue gun is still AWOL. Film at 11. Oh, wait, we are late on that film. I probably put the hot glue gun somewhere after using it because it was hot. So, yeah, let me take another look for it. Okay, this is weird. Weird. Okay, not sure what I did with my hot glue gun. Well, I do know wherever I managed to put it, the battery is not in it. So I don't have to worry about it spontaneously gluing things. Alright, well... Alright, well I guess I won't be gluing the Bodge wires down, so I will have to be really careful for the other part. But I did find the crystal. I actually found it fairly quickly, because I put it exactly where I thought I would have put it. With parts for one of the 2SIs. Imagine that. I put them where they belonged. For once. Alright. Alright, so it looks like this Mac is in reasonable shape. Oh. Alright, so let's do a little benchmark here. After I get rid of the annoying flashing icon there. Alright, so let's run... Speedometer. Right, tests. Run all tests. And I am going to run the tests. Doesn't matter which one I pick. Alright. And then Eric says, it looks like a IIsi, yes. Dave says, and it did not require an air tag. Well, the hot air machine, the hot glue gun is probably going to have to get an air tag, unfortunately, if I ever find it. You know, if I was smart, I would have started recording OBS so I could give Gutbomb at minimum, a video file he could not have to download the entire live stream to clip. But I was not smart. I guess I could always restart the computer and run the benchmark again. Sadback says, I would offer to send you one. I'm pretty sure I have a spare, but that would summon yours. Yes, it would. Okay, I know. And it's a Ryobi tool, so it's like bright green. That's the annoying part. Because I see my screwdriver, and I see my oscillating tool, and I found the air duster. It was just misplaced, not hidden. The thing is, though, I suspect I used the hot glue gun and then set it somewhere to the side because it was hot. And then haven't used it since, so I've forgotten where I put it that was not near anything so it could cool down without burning the house down. Always an important trait when letting a hot glue gun cool down. Might it be upstairs? No, it's not upstairs. I would have had no reason to take my hot glue gun upstairs. Yeah, it's not upstairs. It's down here. It's probably on a shelf or a table. Alright, while that continues to run, I'm going to look for it again. Yeah, I think I remember now. I was using it, and I had to set it down somewhere because it wouldn't stay upright on its own. I mean, maybe I don't think I took it upstairs, but I mean, there is a distinct possibility that I did and I forgot about it. Alright, so there we go. Here's our benchmarks. Average of 1.556 times a Mac II. Average of 4.262 of a Mac Classic. Alright, so what I'm going to do here and Gutbomb will probably realize what I'm doing. Alright. Okay, I believe you could probably still hear me. I'm going to rerun benchmarks, but I am now recording in OBS. And I got rid of all the overlays and everything, and then Gutbomb and I can talk about what might get put back in their place. And where. And I'll actually save this machine record. Gutbomb says, I do realize what you're doing. Yes. Tests. Run all tests. We'll just go ahead and run that against the folder for good measure. This will also give me an opportunity to look for the hot glue gun again. I am going to look in places where I should have suspected but didn't, because I thought I would have seen a bright green Ryobi tool. If it had been where I said it couldn't possibly be, I am looking under things that I didn't think it would fit under, but maybe it does. Nope. No, it's not under the PCB box. Oh, wait a minute. Is it under the LC475? Like the LC475 that doesn't work after an ultrasonic cleaning. Oh, no, that was That was wishful thinking. No, it was not underneath that. Nope. Okay. Never mind. It was not under there. Alright, well, it's probably underneath something. I mean, it is, to someone's point, it is entirely possible that I did take it upstairs because it had a battery in it, and I was actually taking the battery to charge and or inflate the tires of my car because I was going somewhere and the battery in my tire inflator was dead. And maybe the hot glue gun is in my garage because I took the whole thing upstairs instead of just the battery. There is that possibility, but well, I guess not having hot glue on the board lets me ultrasonically clean it first. And then I'll hot glue, because I don't know if ultrasonic cleaning will loosen the hot glue or not. Or at the very least, I probably need to isopropyl alcohol clean the board again to remove the rest of the flux, and that would remove the hot glue. So I'll glue it later. If this benchmark runs quickly enough, we will attempt our upgrade. Hardware Hacker says, but if you ultrasonic it, it might break again. Yes, but if I don't ultrasonic it, it might break again. Because the electrolyte that got under chips could continue to corrode things. It's kind of one of those catch-22 situations. So maybe I'll just have to use isopropyl alcohol. Thomas Armstrong's asking, is this a working 2SI? Well, unless your eyes are deceiving you, yes. This is a working 2SI now. The Bodge wires I put on last time were going to the wrong place. Which is why I had more bad bits instead of less. We are running a baseline benchmark because we are going to attempt an upgrade that may or may not change its working status. So there we go. Yeah, it does help when you type on the correct keyboard. There we go. I have saved our record. All right. So now, let's see here. We will go back to table cam. There we go. Oh, I can stop recording there. Stop recording the run of the benchmark for Gut Bomb. Because what you don't know is that if I do record the footage of upgrading the oscillator, it will not be through OBS. I will hit record on my camcorder. Yes, my overhead camera view. Oh, it was a suggestion in the form of a question, yeah. Oh. Anyways. No one wants to see me. Let me rephrase that before I finish my statement. I don't want people to see me struggle removing this board from the case. So, therefore, it is not going to be recorded for Gut Bomb's video. Unless he, like, downloads the entire live stream and shows my bad camera framing of trying to get the logic board out. Because we are going to do two things. We are going to remove the... no, it did not take new buffers. Therefore, because I ordered some, therefore it did not take new buffers. No, my Bodge wires from that I did last week, I put them in the wrong place. So, I would have... Oh, I should probably unplug the serial port. We are not upgrading this to 100 megahertz. That would be kind of silly. The information on the internet does not support a... Nope, we are not going for 40 megahertz. We are going for the rumored speed that Apple was developing the system at before they decided to downgrade it to 20 megahertz. Hi, Tom Barber. Welcome. All right. So, first of all, I'm going to remove my serial connections here very carefully. Nope, I'm not going to 33 megahertz. We're going to 25 megahertz. I am not trying to destroy my newly working 2SI. I am trying to give it a historically accurate speed bump. And from what I can tell, 25 megahertz was a speed that some people reportedly were able to run back in the day. Therefore, I am going to try to replicate the results. I don't... yeah, I know the 040 runs great at 33 megahertz, but the IIsi is not an 040 computer unless you happen to have been the lucky person that bought a IIsi on eBay within the past week from a seller that did not post photos of the inside of the computer, but that someone in one of the Macintosh Facebook groups got the seller to send them photos, and someone checked out right before they could, and that 2SI, or not, it was a 2CI, excuse me, not 2SI, and that 2CI had an 040 accelerator and a 824 GC card in it. Well, I mean, that's assuming they didn't like fake the photo for engagement reasons, but I suspect it was I suspect they actually were just unintentionally making everyone else feel bad that they also missed the auction. So yes, I regret that I was not searching for a 2CI in the past week, or I might have had a steal of a deal. So I am I'm trying to re-tin some of these pads because they're a bit crusty looking, but well, I guess they're just going to look the way they do. All right. All right, so back in the day, I think people would use a clock chip to upgrade their Mac. But I am actually just going to replace the oscillator. So this is our oscillator that we need to remove. So that's our 40 megahertz oscillator. And let's see, here's the pins for it here. So the way I'm going to remove this from the board is I'm first going to add some new solder. Because I don't have a clock chip, a clock clip kit, so I'm just going to replace the oscillator. Which I think I surprised Gutbaum when I told him I was tempted to make one of these go faster, because I'm normally the person that leaves them stock, and I've had so much trouble with these 2SIs, I don't care. Well, I don't have a Killy clip or any other type of clip that would go on the oscillator. Did I get all the... Oh. I almost got it. Alright, so... And voila. One oscillator removed with a minimum of carnage. And I will save the original oscillator in case I get cold feet about this upgrade. Alright, now, if anyone is wondering, this is the part that I am going to put in its place. Harder Hacker says, like that impossible to find clip that was featured in Gutbob's Power Mac 6100 Was It Crummy video. Featured but not used. Did I get a socket? No, I did not buy sockets when I bought this because I have sockets already. But I am doing something here that I don't normally do, and it is called full send. I might regret it later. There we go. Let me double check that I have the... So I've got the pointed corner and the dot lined up on pin 1. And now I'm just going to solder. Besides, I don't know that the sockets I have for oscillators are really that good, so... Because I bought them from Jamco, and... I've not really had great success with sockets from Jamco. Other stuff I buy from them, no problems at all, but... I don't know if it's because they, wherever they get their sockets or what. Alright. See, there we go. Gutbomb says, yeah, anything that can be soldered can be desoldered later. I support full send. I mean, yeah, if this doesn't work, then I'll just set the board aside and desolder it later. I won't do it tonight because of what time it is. I am trying to find my toothbrush. Oh, I must have... That is weird. Alright, fine. Can't find the toothbrush. I must have... must have accidentally removed it from the workbench. Oh, there's one. Just when I was about to give up. All right. All right. All right, so a little contact cleaner to make that flash off. And now there we go. There is our 50 megahertz part. All right. Okay, so now let's put this back in the case. Oh, I guess I should probably at least clean the flux off of this edge card edge connector here. All right, here we go. All right, video. Yep, we are going to do a full reconnect here. Not because I have faith that this IISi is a fully reliable machine, but maybe because I think I have enough evidence that shows that enough people did this upgrade. Maybe not by outright replacing the oscillator, but by clipping a new one in, that I'm fairly sure that this is either going to work or it's not. And if it works so poorly that I trip a circuit breaker, well, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. And all the other fun YouTube-y stuff. But I don't think we'll trip a circuit breaker. There we go. And so, yeah, I got SCSI. Yeah, I'm just plugging it all in. Floppy, SCSI, keyboard, monitor. Ha ha! Looky there. Oh, did I? Oh, hold please. Forgot to plug in the power connector for the... Forgot to plug the power connector in for the BlueSCSI. Remember, IISi doesn't have termination power. My mod did not change that fact. Oh. Let's see here. Load record file. Alright, there's our record to beat. And yes, Gutbum, I am recording again. And I did record the oscillator upgrade on the camcorder, so at least there's a little bit of footage of that. So it's a 50 megahertz oscillator, so we have a 25 megahertz bus speed. It divides the clock by 2. The old oscillator was 40 megahertz. This one uses the 14-pin socket, so it's the rectangular ones. If anyone's wondering. I did show the Mauser bag on screen before I installed it. If you do order an oscillator for one of these old Macs, you want to make sure you get one that's TTL or 5-volt compatible, because some oscillators are not 5-volt compatible, although usually if they're these metal can ones, they are. But it is something to double check before you order it. Hardware Hacker says, huh, interesting. The Power Mac 6100 doubles the clock instead of dividing it in half. Well, that makes sense, because the 6100, if it halved the clock, it would need a 120 or 133 megahertz oscillator, which would have been really expensive if if it even exists. So that's probably why it doubles it instead of halves it. I'm trying not to let what I'm seeing sway the benchmark. Is it just me, or does it seem a little bit snappier? I mean, obviously we didn't double the performance, because we only increased the clock speed by 25%. Lazy Bite Boy says, I feel like it's faster. Hardware Hacker says, tiny bit faster. Dave says, yes, does seem faster. The tests are done. All right, there we go. Color benchmarks. Average 2.097. I think that number is larger. All right, I guess the math benchmark 6.371. I don't remember what that one was. All right, there's our performance test window. All right, in the moment of truth. Wow. Wow, look at that. CPU 3.72 to 6.11. Graphics 6.27 to 8.07. Disk 3.17 to 4.31. Math 3.89 to 5.78. That's like new PR. I think that's like the average. 4.1 to 6.01. That's wild. This is just wild. And no wonder. Wow. That is just wild. All right. So, there we go. Lazy Bite Boy says that would have been a huge jump back when it released. I know, all I did was bump. All right, so if you want to ask me, Gutbump says, awesome increase. I am thinking that this is entirely why Apple shipped the IIsi at 20 megahertz. Unfortunately, I don't have a Macintosh II series to compare with. But the rumor is that Apple shipped the IIsi at 20 megahertz to not steal sales from other Mac II computers. But they developed it at 25 megahertz, shipped it at 20 megahertz. I think I see why, because at 25 megahertz, I don't know what the competing Mac II numbers would be because I don't have them, but that kind of seems like that might have actually stolen sales from the more expensive Mac at 25 megahertz. Lazy Bite Boy says that's definitely a thing Apple would do. Yeah. Dave says, good job, Justin. Thank you, Dave. This is great. So my IIsi is going to pay for its crumminess by having to run at 25 megahertz. Yeah, Hardware Hacker says Mac IIci is 25 megahertz. Yeah. I bet if I pulled a Mac IIci out, which won't happen today, I kind of wonder if it would my IIsi 25 megahertz. I kind of wonder if the IIci would graphics would probably be better with a decent graphics card because it wouldn't be sharing time from the CPU. But I think some of this uplift is the fact that with a faster bus speed, less of the CPU's time is spent waiting for RAM drawing video. So, yeah, it's not so crummy now. All right. So, with that, finally, finally, I have a 2SI that is worthy of its beige case. Does it have a PDS slot? I do have the PDS to new bus adapter for it that has a math code processor, but it needs recapped. So that's not going to happen tonight. It's time to end the stream. But I do actually have two of those adapters, but one of them might have problems. So that's probably content for another day. What do you know? Anyways, don't forget to smash that like button if you like it when I do the atypical thing and full send and upgrade. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. Sunday, I hope to eventually join Dave's stream. I do have my costume, and it did come from eBay. And luckily, my subscribe and save order arrived today, so I have the batteries for my costume. So I will eventually join Dave. I do have a... this is my week where I do have something Sunday afternoon to do first. So but you're streaming longer, so even if what I'm doing it runs long, then I should still be able to join for a while. But anyways, yeah, dress up as a 2SI. I have no idea why YouTube repeats messages. YouTube chat's funny sometimes. Anyways, yeah, subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. I am happy to say that I'm not working on a 2SI next week. Oh, thank eVibes $4.99 super chat. Thank you. So I'm thinking of going back to Tuesday and Thursday streaming. So what am I working on next week? Next week, one stream, I think I'm going to try to build a couple of these. VRAM sims, because the dinosaur needs fed. That's your hint as to which computer I ordered these for. So anyways, yeah, I think we're going to build some of these next week during one of the streams. And the other stream, you will be happy to know we are probably not going to be formatting hard drives or working on a 2SI, because luckily we're good there. I had a computer in mind. Yeah, Dave's saying 286. Maybe we'll take a look at the 286 and try to fix the trace damage that was under the battery, because there's like 4 broken traces. So maybe we'll look at the 286 next week. Yeah, Stan says I like the 286 idea. Yeah, it's a couple broken traces. I think they'll be fairly easy, and then we'll see if the 286 works. And if we get the 286 working in time, I do also have capacitors for the tandem floppy drives that are in my IBM PC, so... but anyways, yeah. Sad Max says, suddenly I have the Jurassic Park theme music stuck in my head. Yep, you know which computer Yeah, so instead of buying VRAM sims on eBay at an exorbitant price, I spent the money on PCBs and memory chips instead. So, yeah. Also, if these PCBs actually work, and I can successfully build some, I may sell some of the spares on my coffee store. Probably US shipments only for various reasons, but because, but I'll see. It has to, international shipping can be hard. But yeah, it might be one of those that if you're not in the US, then you might have to just contact me directly so I can look into what it would take to ship it to your country. I know Canada's fairly easy, but I don't know that I can set I don't know how flexible coffee is to set where you can ship it to and calculate shipping. I've never done it before, so it may be one of those. I set it up for US because when I set it up, I can always see what it would cost to ship to the US. But then if you're somewhere else, you might have to reach out to me, because I know if you ship to Europe, you have to look up the I forget what the code's named, but you actually have to, you can't just write on the customs form what it is. You have to determine the number, the like universal, it's like some universal number that tells customs officials what tariff it would actually be. Yeah, and Stian says taxes and tariffs make it hard in Europe. So, Stian says, I'm going to Europe in May, so if anyone needs some hand currying, yes. Yes, I have replacements for the capacitors that was shooting embers. Well, I've already recapped the motherboard, but I do have replacements for the capacitors for the floppy drive, because those are 4.7 microfarad, so I do have those. Assuming I haven't lost them, but they're still in the basement somewhere. But anyways, yeah, 286 and the VRAM sims, and yeah, so I look forward to next week. Yeah, make sure to smash that like button, because I got 13 viewers and an unknown amount of likes because of reasons. I don't know why OBS doesn't show likes in the view, but whatever. I'd have to actually go to the YouTube video. But anyways, yeah, smash that like button. This 2SI works. I guess it came down to incorrect Bodge wire application last week. 19 likes. I got 14 concurrent viewers, 19 likes. I'll take it. It's getting late. I do have to work tomorrow. I am going to rest on my laurels. Figuratively, not literally, because it seems like resting on laurels would be quite uncomfortable. Cian says 2SI RAM rewiring. Yep. So anyways, I hope to see you all here next time. Hopefully next computer I work on won't take 14 bazillion live streams to get working. And don't worry, I will eventually try to fix the other 3 2SIs, or at least maybe 2 of them. One of them, the logic board is in such rough shape, it might be a parts donor. But I will try to at least fix 2 of the other 3. So don't worry, but I'm probably going to take a little bit of time to work on some other things before I go back to the 2SI. Because after all, those 2SIs are 2 size. But with that, I hope to see you all here next time. Take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.